To me, the word democratic or democracy means whatever the majority wants is what gets done. But the majority don't want to disband the NHS. They don't want it privatised. They don't want land sold off all over the place and turned into flats. They don't want foreign investment in private flats here that remain empty. There's some across the bridge, for an example. That's not what we want, and that's not conserving. I never wanted privatisation of the railways or any of the other things that they're privatising. And to me, that's not conserving, that's disposing, and I think they should change the name of the party. Well, I suppose, and I can't say it was conservative, but it was when Tony Blair got in and he became, in all but name, he became a Conservative party. He called it New Labour, and I didn't like him, and I would never vote. I didn't vote for him, and I, would recommend anybody not to vote for him. But he was turning things into, in my view, he was turning things into the Conservative way of thinking, and I began to think then, no, this just doesn't feel right. Well, some people don't ever question it, do they? They just still carry on voting the same way. But I think if they listen to what any of the politicians in government, if they listen to what they say and then they watch what actually happens, which is usually the reverse of what they say, what you have to do is read between the lines, because it's what they don't say, not what they do say, that's the important thing. They try to blind us with science or with figures. They tell us that Charing Cross Hospital will still be a hospital. When they finish selling it and developing it into luxury flats, it will still be a hospital. It'll still have an A&E department. We've saved it, they all said. We've saved it. But what they didn't publicise was it will only have, I think it's 24 beds. That's not a hospital. It's not. So, you have to listen to what they don't say. Well, I thought at one point that they were good and they wanted to conserve the NHS and that there wasn't a problem. But it's not until you start listening to people like Margaret Thatcher, who was hailed as Madonna almost, I think the first woman Prime Minister, when she started selling off the gas services, the telephone services and all the other things that she sold off, I then did start to think, well, when's the NHS going to go? Because it will eventually. But, it took some time for us to actually see it. But now we can see it, and I'm not the only one that sees it. I know I'm not. Well, I would ask them why they still determined to be Tory supporters. And if they could give me a satisfactory answer, I might reconsider, but I don't think they'd be able to. And if they couldn't, I would talk them into not voting. Certainly not voting for the Tories anyway. But there is no alternative, no satisfactory alternative. I know I keep saying that, but there just isn't. They say this and they do that, and none of them can be trusted. So that was like 50 years, no, not 50, 40, 35 years ago. We were saying it then, but it took all this time for me to eventually realise enough's enough. Then none of them are worth my vote. If it need a revolution, I'd probably be up front. I'm afraid I would. I wouldn't go killing anybody or throwing bombs or anything like that, but I would be up there saying what I think. I really would. Hope you don't hold me to that, but I would. I probably would.
I'll come and give you a lift.
Well, as long as you're there with me, that'll be fine. That'll be okay.